What's going on, traders? Welcome to another weekly Forex forecast. If this is your first time to my channel and you want to learn more about supply and demand trading to try to grow your trading account, start now by hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. And let me know in the comments what pairs you're watching this week. I love to talk to you guys about what you're seeing in the markets and what pairs you're looking at. So let me know in the comments down below. Alright guys, first we're going to look at the US dollar, and as you can see on the COT reports, their long percentage to short percentage still remains 66% short to 34% long. And looking on the daily time frame, for those of you that are in the Discord group, you know that I've been waiting for price to basically break this high right here on the US dollar, because that is what I would prefer to happen before making any move whatsoever. But the only concern I have is that we'd be moving right into a supply zone, even though if that does happen, we would have the ability to draw a trend line up here, and you could somewhat call it an uptrend. But for me to really call this an uptrend, I just have to see that zone removed for sure. So that does kind of create a problem. And if I see something like this and it comes up to that daily supply zone, I would probably rather be looking for a 4-hour short setup up here. Look for a short setup rather than going long until that daily supply is broken, and hopefully it doesn't fool us and give us a short setup so that we can actually just remain out of the short if the US dollar does remain to go up. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm still waiting on basically all my trading to wait to see what the dollar is doing. And if you look in the bottom left screen on the daily again, if price does come down here, I do plan on looking for a 4-hour momentum shift to the upside to get in long if it gives us that opportunity. All right, looking at EURUSD, their long percentage actually increased from 76% to 77% with the adage of 1,500 longs, and they actually got rid of 300 shorts as well. But looking at the chart, we are seeing that momentum shift start to happen on the daily time frame, and what that's coming from is actually this weekly area of supply right here, from all the way back here, which is a very nice supply zone. But as you can see, we're actually reacting off of this switch zone right here. And the switch zone actually started back here from this demand zone. And it went all the way here, had a reaction off of it here, had a reaction off of it right there. Now we are reacting off of it again. So I'm not interested in doing anything on the euro right now. But if anything, the daily momentum shift to switch to the downside. But the weekly is in kind of control in that switch zone. And by the way, if you want to find these zones and track the zones with me, I did create that Patreon page that I mentioned last time, and as you can see here, I made a small price of only $5, and I actually made a video not too long ago about it called tracking the supply and demand zone, so check that out. And I discussed the Patreon in there and what you get out of it. You basically get all my zones updated, my whole chart analysis daily, for only $5 Canadian a month, which is not that bad. So just thought I'd make a little shout out to that. I already got like 7 members, or a little bit more than 7 members now, I think. So I really appreciate the support, and I think that you guys would like it as well. But that's what I'm seeing on the euro. This flip zone on the weekly is in control. I kind of am expecting it to break. So on the daily time frame, you could see something like that. I would have to be watching the dollar first to see if we can get a short position. But ultimately, I am interested in going long around this weekly area of demand right there on the euro. All right, so looking at Aussie USD, COT reports show that their long to short percentage is actually decreased to now 50-50 short to long. And on the weekly time frame here, we are reacting off of this weekly demand, so beware of that. But looking at the daily time frame, which I know most of you don't really go out to the weekly, looking at the daily time frame, we have had this momentum shift to the downside. I drew out the zone, so all the Patreon members received the zone, and actually here I can actually draw somewhat of a trend line down. Actually, I can adjust it here. So you're seeing a little bit of live action of me adjusting a trend line and adding a trend line. And then basically real quick for the Patreon members, I click that save, you click refresh, and then now you have that trend line just to show you what's going on. But we do have this momentum shift to the downside, but as you can see, we are reacting off of this demand here. I'm not saying I would short the supply zone up here, but I could see that zone holding up price for a while. So we're starting to see these moves on the downside. We're starting to see the US dollar get weak. The 4-hour is technically sideways on the downside, but you see this longer term trend on the 4 hour, it is down. If you look at the 1 hour, another beautiful example of a flip zone working out very, very nicely. Look at this. So we almost had the reaction off of it here. Lifted off from the zone. 1 reaction, 2. Now we're seeing it again. So I'd have to see that zone broken for me to think that price is going to continue to the downside on the Aussie dollar. But in the meantime, I am watching the dollar still to make my final judgment on taking a trade. Alright, looking at the British pound, top left on my screen. If we can get a long in, the US dollar is showing this, there's a lot of potential profit on the higher time frames that's available. But if you look at the daily time frame, we are in this tested area of daily supply that I've had drawn out for a long time now. This trend line's holding beautifully. It's not like the Aussie dollar where we're seeing that daily momentum shift. But, I wouldn't be surprised if the US dollar does get stronger, if we start to see something like that eventually take place. And then we'd have to, unfortunately, wait for the weekly in order to start to get in long again. But there might be some shorts coming up on the pound soon. I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting for the dollar to show what it's going to be doing. So not much is going on in the pound right now, but that uptrend is still holding. These 4 hour demand zones are still holding nicely. Unfortunately, I don't see any demand here on the daily yet. If we were to get a buying opportunity, I would have to wait for something like this, which would create demand down here and then get a pullback to that area. Something like that. But as for now, the pound is kind of off limits in my opinion, based on the fact that we're at this higher time frame area of supply and the fact that the weekly is pretty overextended. And the US dollars, the US dollar still hasn't made its mind up on the daily time frame just yet. All right, looking at USDJPY, the call reports actually show they added longs, 4,342 longs. Got rid of some shorts as well, but their overall percentage still remains pretty much very bearish on the pair, or on the, bearish on the USDJPY. But looking at the chart, I thought the chart was interesting. The daily is basically doing exactly, the daily is actually doing basically exactly what I'm waiting for the dollar to do, but it's just not happening yet. As far as this, I don't see much supply in here for there to be removed. You could maybe make an argument for this being a supply zone right here. I don't know. I'm not interested in going long. As you can see, though, if we do get a long opportunity, if the US dollar gives it to us, there's not much quality supply here, so we could see a nice rally. And then as far as the weekly goes, this is right here is just compression. It's really nothing. So that's something to keep an eye out for sure. If you look at the 4 hour time frame, demand zones are being created. The 4 hour top right screen is definitely on an uptrend, so I have to update that actually. Right here, that's what you'd get out of the Patreon group. And if you look on the 1 hour, this beautiful flip zone again is working very nicely. So I'm not interested in going long just yet based on the US dollar. If it was just this pair, I mean, I wouldn't mind some of these pullbacks into these 1 hour demands, but price is kind of stalling here. It's kind of risky. So I wouldn't be super interested in buying, but your daily is on somewhat of an uptrend. There's only been one supply zone removed, but we do have this ability to draw a trend line. Not the best trend line. I'm not a huge fan of this price action right here for this trend line, but that's why I still have this as sideways. I actually might even add an up arrow as well. I'm going to add an up arrow as well because it's close. It's a tight one. So keep that in mind that the US dollar daily has not shown us any similar moves to this. So this could literally just be a little bit of a fake out on the pair USDJPY. All right, looking at USDCAD, we have had this nice little daily momentum shift with a zone created there and actually one zone removed. So that's a very strong momentum shift in my opinion. No uptrend just yet, but we have seen a reaction off of that daily demand already. And on the 4 hour, I know somebody in the Discord group took this trade right here. Pretty sure he's still in it. I think he had a little bit of a wider stop loss, which is good because this daily demand that was right near it. But 4 hours on an uptrend still, in my opinion. It's somewhat uptrend / sideways. The 1 hour is in a downtrend. This 1 hour zone is still holding. It did break it a little bit, but that's an emotional candle, so I do not consider that a break. But as far as I can see right now, it looks like the US dollar might be turning around. We're just gonna have to watch the DXY to see what the US dollar daily time frame is doing. All right, looking at the USD Swiss, last pair on the list. You know, I hate this chart right now. I'm not interested I'm not interested in it at all. Look at this daily time frame. We are stuck in between supply and demand. A perfect example. Supply up here, demand down here. So, you know, maybe it's if you're risky and ballsy, I don't have the balls to do this. You could be buying low and selling high. Not a fan of that. I like to trade with the trend. Offers way better risk to reward, and I'm just not interested in that. And if you look at the 4-hour chart right here, it's so wicky. So many of these zones look like they should have been broken, but they just fully weren't. So I am not interested in this chart as well. If I end up buying the Swiss on the weekly time frame, lots of profit margin, which I like, but I'll have to see that removed, have a trend line be able to draw. Hopefully the 4-hour can be trending, and then we can buy some 1-hour pullbacks. That's what I'm personally going to be looking for on USDCHF. All right, on to gold. They're actually still adding longs. They added 6,000 longs, but more importantly, they got rid of some shorts. So that's a pretty bullish sign for gold. In my opinion, I still have to mark out my zones on gold, which I plan on doing this weekend. But the 4-hour sideways, the daily is sideways too, in my opinion. We do have some zones holding up price right here, and actually we do have a flip zone right here that you could draw out. So we do have some supply to be removed. For me to go long on gold, I'm gonna have to see this our supply zone be removed before even thinking about going long on gold, because I think that would just be the safest bet. But the call reports are kind of giving us a sign that, you know, maybe they are starting to look for to push the price of gold a little bit higher. All right, looking at oil, their overall percentage actually dropped from 81% to 80%, but they actually added some longs and added some shorts, which does not surprise me. We're going to mostly look in the daily, but if you see in the top left, we're at this weekly area of supply right here. So in my opinion, they're kind of just holding up price to maybe take some profits on their long to possibly and hopefully push price up a little higher. Oh, this is the weekly. But if you go to the daily time frame, as you can see, we've been losing some steam. I don't know why my mouse is not working right now. There we go. We're losing some steam a little bit, but we are contacting this trend line again. If we do see a move down, I expect this trend line to be broken pretty quickly, in my opinion. We'll have to see how we open up. I'm not interested in going long just yet. I want to see that weekly area of the supply be removed before, and then maybe wait for this daily zone to be broken on the bottom left screen, something like that. And then if that happens, top right corner, the 4-hour trend would have to realign, because right now we are in somewhat of a downtrend. So if that happened, the 4-hour trend would continue up. Then we'd have a 1-hour trend. Then we could start buying some pullbacks again. But in the meantime, I'm not shorting oil based on the fact that we're rallying very strong, and I would have to have a daily confirmation for me to start shorting oil. I would basically have to see daily confirmation. I wouldn't be even shorting oil till probably down here, something like that. So I'm very bullish on oil. I'm just waiting for a better opportunity to get in long. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching this week's weekly Forex forecast. And like I said earlier, if you want to join the Patreon and support the channel and get my chart analysis daily, the link to the Patreon is in the description. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below what pairs you're looking at this week. I'd love to know. And don't forget to drop a like. I would very much appreciate it. So with that being said, have a great trading week.